controlled style, and that looks to be exactly what we're going to get out of them. And they have to basically replicate exactly what they did against Bermuda to get the win here.
Well, it's just Skyfoxes are so dominant on Volskaya because of the Sombra strategy. Now I'm gonna wait to see if Buds is only scouting or if he's really gonna go in on this, because now they have Lastro on the Ana. So remember all these winning conditions we talked about. It's the anti from Lastro, it's an EMP from Buds, even a hack from Buds. Now he's dead, or the Graviton from FaZe. So Skyfoxes tried to set something up, and Square One just ran them over as soon as they saw Buds come out of the gates.
Right, so there's a lot of advantages to running, you know, a typical 3-3 composition versus what we're getting out of meta Skyfoxes, and I really like what we're getting here. They're playing aggressively, waiting for their opportunities, and as they come to them, as they come up, you will see Square One make those big gear shifts and go full on aggression and find these kills quickly.
It's the second spy check that Big Al has done to find Buds and force him already back. But now they baited Square One into this tiny room where Clone Man has Shatter already. He's voice lining and getting himself onto the point. So a very solid fight from Skyfoxes to take down Square One.
As good as Square One is at finding those opportunities, those vulnerabilities, and acting upon them, exposing weaknesses, I mean, Skyfoxes got here by doing just the same. They see Big Al going into that room against Buds. He's by himself, and they can dive on that. Now, you see that first point captured. Meta Skyfoxes going towards second, and now it's about getting high ground control as quickly as you can.
The pre-fight engagement from Jolf, and he's about to have Shatter. Clone Man, though, he's got the Nano, and now the grab is out, and he's gonna have a ton of fun just hammering all that damage into Square One's face. Skyfoxes, though, only up by 1, and they've used a few ultimates. Nice block of the Shatter as Jolf charges in. He's low, he's by himself. That's a free kill for Skyfoxes. Now, no main shield and no tank to stand in their way. They step on the point, and they got an EMP.
Well, Dove has the grab. They have to knock them into it and then make sure that they don't get EMP, but they got it! Dove could die!
Great! That's such a great EMP. You took the grab out of the picture. Now you need to win this fight, and you need to do it before Dove gets back. Jolf, though, stalling for some time as the Hammond. He's gonna spin around, and now Hot Date's gonna exchange that with a mech and a self-destruct on the point that takes out Attitude. Skyfoxes use the grab at the front door. That's Jolf that won't be bothering them any longer, and a Nano onto FaZe. He's melting off the faces of Square One, who desperately only had a grab left to help them, but 5 minutes and 26. That Skyfox is turning things around.
What a great nano boost there onto FaZe as well. Being able to close that out, but I really want to highlight Buds because they shut Dove out. EMP, no grab. Hacked, no grab. Twice, Dove tried to come out and make a play for his team. Square One should have been able to win the fight if he was able to do that, but Buds was on top of things. And again, this is why Skyfoxes got here. They're so good with this composition. Buds is so comfortable on the Sombra. Definitely the best Sombra in my eyes in Trials right now. And they play off of it so well because the thing about Sombra is it's not just about your mechanical ability. Yes, Buds that does, you know, of course, bring that to the table, but it's all about communication. It's all about coordination, and Skyfoxes have that in spades.
Skyfoxes haven't lost Volskaya. They're always running this Sombra with Ana, and it's working out for them. Yeah, we have maybe had some doubts as to how Numbani went for them, you know, and we kind of laughed about how did Angelic, a Lucio player, just frag 2 DPS players from Skyfoxes. But I think it's about just shaking off the nerves. You know, it's a new week, and you're going up against the best team in Trials. So Skyfoxes, I think now they know they can beat them, and you got to realize you can beat a team if you want to do it. And now after that 5 minutes and 26 time bank that they got, I think they're feeling really good.
Yeah, they're going to play that exact same composition here on their defense. Really got to make sure that you keep an eye on Clone Man in this matchup because he's going to be the guy that is most susceptible to pressure coming his way. Square One, you know, they can make sure that they take advantage of the fact that if FaZe pulls out an aggressive projected barrier, Clone Man then has no other protection other than himself. So they can stun Clone Man out. There's no defense matrix to prevent that damage. So definitely have to make sure that they keep Clone Man alive here because he is very, very vulnerable in this composition as opposed to what we see from Square One.
Absolutely, and you saw Square One. They used the Sombra to go for a scout, also not only for the positioning, but is the defense running a Sombra as well? They have that information now, and Square One will have to play a lot more defensively and go for spy checks to make sure their tanks won't get hacked by bots.
Well, Jolf diving in. Clone Man already has the projected barrier on him. They could go for it.
Oh, and Angelic got hacked. Square One, bit of a standstill as a nice ante from Lastro nailed a few from Square One, pushes him back slightly. Look how low Square One were. They lost Big Al, no Meg, and no supports. That's really great heads-up plays from Skyfoxes, who now not only have a grab, but they kept FaZe's energy after that.
Not only that, but look at the way Clone Man positioned himself too when he was able to just push them into that corridor there on top of that small health pack. They were effectively going to win that no matter if Lastro won the Biotic Grenade contest. So he gets the Biotic, that's just that much easier. Now they're playing into it a second time. Have to make sure that you maintain your eye contact on Clone Man. You have to keep an eye on him here because, again, they found the opening. They just weren't able to pounce on him last time around.
Budzo's about to have EMP. He just got it from tickling the backline here of Square One. Now they have to keep Ultraviolet alive, out of line of sight of that EMP, because he's going to need to use the Transcendence from the storm of Skyfoxes that are going to come in. It's weather the EMP, the shatter, the Graviton. There are so many winning conditions to Skyfoxes. EMP from Buds is combined with a shatter from Clone Man, who goes in and just tears apart the front line of Square One, who will have to reset after that.
Really, really clean fight from Meta Skyfoxes. Remember, they have that 5-minute, 26-second time bank, so now it's virtually unmatchable, right, by Square One. There's just really no way that they can do that. However, they still have a shot here. They're building into their combos. They're building into what they need to start controlling the tempo in their favor. You have to be aggressive. You have to be high tempo if you want to get the job done here. Play into your diva. Force shield pressure early to get that projected barrier out, and then maybe you can make a play.
Well, the play is going to be FaZe's grab plus Lastro and one absolute unit of Clone Man who's ready. He's just ready. Juice me! And there it is, the Nano. He goes forward. But where's the grab from FaZe? He actually dies with it. How was he under so much pressure? It was Hot Date sitting in his face. But speaking of that, Square One is sitting on the ground after Clone Man just shattered the entire team. Now he keeps his shield up. He's stalling for time. A grab is thrown from, it was Dove actually, but it's not the finishing power Square One we're looking for. There's still 3 left from Skyfoxes for Square One to clear as Hot Day uses the self-destruct to get back into mech, and this is a bit of a scrappy one for Square One.
Oh, they're hanging on, though. They have the respawn advantage here on the attacking side. Clone Man's so low, but they can't follow through with it.
Oh, and FaZe doesn't want to use the grab here unless he knows all 6 of his members can follow up on it. They got the DMAX to Hot Date. Now you don't have to worry about anyone eating your grab. And they seem to have actually want to use the EMP and the rally together. And the grab, a big investment from Skyfoxes.
Well, they know that there's not much of an opportunity left to contest here. You're going to be basically seeing Square One diving in. They have 9 seconds to make it to this objective, and as they try to rush in, they're going to be met with stuns, CCs, everything, boops, to make sure that they can't even make it.
Angelic is gonna go back to heaven on that one as Skyfoxes full hold Square One after being down 0-2, and this is the clapback I was ready for Skyfoxes. This is what we know from them so well, how dominant their Sombra setups can be.
Yeah, we've seen them do well on this map time and time again. I mean, this is their map. They even said it last week, I believe in map chat, where Volskaya is the map that they always want to go to, and you can see the reason why. They're just so proficient at it. They can, make sure that they have Lastro. They don't even need to play the high ground with Lastro. He plays actually from the low ground, playing off the health pack, and he's so safe there, so insulated. Having that extra healing, that protection as well. I love the way that they do that with Clone Man playing that first point.
And Clone Man receiving the nanos from Lastro. He even got a humongous shatter on the defense to stop Square One from getting onto the point. It's Skyfoxes who look like they probably could have lost that. There was like only 3 people left from Skyfoxes at one point, and then they just grabbed EMP and all this stuff at once, and Square One just didn't know what to do. They probably thought that they won, and with 9 seconds left, it just took so long for Square One to build momentum. Every time they got a pick here and there, it was Skyfoxes that came and slapped them back.
Yeah, we've seen the glimpses though, right? We've seen those glimpses of hope where we've seen where Clone Man gets exposed. We've seen FaZe now get exposed as well, where you can see how not having the D.Va really shows a lack of extra, that layer of protection that the defense matrix provides. It's completely missing. So you can really just lay into whoever is the most available to you and your entire team. You can just walk over to them and you have the advantage of the Zen as well. So just forcing a lot of instant burst pressure, you can get those kills. They got onto FaZe at the last fight there as well, but just didn't really work out for them. They can't close things out. So they need to make sure that they're being consistent with those opportunities and then following through when they find them.
So Junkertown will be our next map. This is Square One's choice, and both these teams have only seen Junkertown once. Square One won 2-1 in Junkertown against Paradigm, while as Meta Skyfoxes, they full held Paradigm on Junkertown. So Paradigm is just not feeling Junkertown, but both these teams solid when it comes to this map, and I'm excited to see if Skyfoxes can maybe send us into a game 5, or is it Square One they're going to close it out here?
And remember, this is an escort map, so it's expected that they bring in Clone Man once again. You could see the Sombra Annie, you could see the Orisa, but either way, they have shown strengths on this map. Both sides 1-0 on Junkertown, although historically, escort has been such a dangerous place for opposition of Skyfoxes. They have time and time again made really solid plays. They've looked so good with the compositions that they've pulled out, and I think this is really dangerous of a position to be placed in if you're Square One, where this could very well, we could see the replication of the Bermuda game where this does go to a game 5 here on Junkertown.
I mean, I guess the only doubt I could cast is Square One lost Rialto to FaZe 2, which is a bottom 3 team. So when it comes to escort, can Square One keep up that momentum against Skyfoxes, where Skyfoxes will actually know the team swap, so it will be Square One that'll be on the attack first.
Yeah, so we will see Clone Man back into the fray for this squad, so likely to see a lot of what we just got on Volskaya, and if they can continue with what they were able to just do, they are looking very solid, right? I mean, they made sure that, I think this was a big bounce back for them, right? They didn't look so great on their first 2 maps, especially not in Imbani. They really fell flat there, I think, with the way that they wanted to play that map and how it was answered by Square One. So I think they have to play it safe here, play into that Sombra Anna, maybe even go into that setup that we saw on King of the Hill, where you do just play the regular 3-3 and just play to your strengths of just creating openings, creating opportunities, and then finding those win conditions and executing upon them.
Well, we can maybe try and predict some compositions, but Square One play what they do best, and they're actually the best GOATS team in Trials, so it's not a surprise that they would stick on to that. But I'm wondering if Buds is staying on the Sombra, and now I got my team swapped up, but Square One, I'm thinking they're going to come out with the GOATS. That's normal, but Skyfox is running Buds on the Sombra. Now I'm thinking straight. Buds on the Sombra, they just had a fantastic performance on Volskaya, and I think this might go their way.
Yeah, we'll see. Hot Date, very likely swap, and maybe they're just going to play just a little bit of dynamite pressure at the very beginning, then he swaps over to the D.Va. But although it looks like he's sticking for now, and he is engaging with this, so Hot Date, no D.Va. Playing into the Sombra here, playing off the dynamite, and just suppressing as much as they can. It's an interesting comp from Square One. We haven't seen this before.
Oh, and Buzz shuts down that Ash real quickly. And yeah, we were excited to see the D.Va, but now the Ash trying to control that high ground, get some shots into the back, especially Dynamite, to just slowly wound the backline of Skyfox and even go for a Bob eventually, which adding that 7th member to a fight can absolutely turn the tides for them.
Still have to be very careful. You don't have a D.Va, and you're playing into Lastro's Anna. You have nothing to deal with the proficiency that he has with the Biotic Grenade, unless he puts himself out of position.
What? Well, okay, Square One, it's a bit of a messy one. They're gonna have to reset this one again, and this is kind of a bad fight to lose because you'll be walking into Buds' EMP and a grab from FaZe.
Soon, Lastro will be back as well, and they still don't have that D.Va, so, I mean, anybody that watched Overwatch League knows what can happen. You know, if you watch that King's Row map, what can happen when you don't have a diva into an Ana that knows what they're doing and they have the communication to pull things together. Nano boost available though for Clone Man.
Wow, Dove just got eliminated so quick, grabbed, antied, and slaughtered, and Square One tried to back him up, and Jalik's gonna pay the price. So 2 down for Square One, and it's now an EMP thrown into the fray here from Buds, and that's a bit of overkill, but hey, job's done.
And they do get the job done. They still have the nano boost that they want to throw onto their Reinhardt more than likely. Could potentially, if FaZe has high energy, they could build into their next grab quickly as well, but definitely want to make sure that Lastro has good positioning in this next fight, because Biotic Grenade is a win condition, especially when you know that that grab from Dove is coming and it's on its way. You need to make sure that you can answer them quickly and maybe just out-sustain them going beat for beat.
Bit of an interesting route from Square One. If Mac was a bit more aggressive, he could have maybe gone for a boop, and a grab is thrown long distance there from Dove, but the barrier from Mac sustains Skyfoxes as now they try to answer. It was a big anti-nade from Lastro that nails the front line of Square One, and they give up a lot of space for that. Minute 30, Jolf tries to use a shatter uphill, and I think it got mostly blocked, and Clone Man fire strikes Jolf right back to spawn, so Skyfoxes are just untouchable on this defense.
And Square One just can't get any kind of map control. I mean, every time that they get close to that payload now, you're going to see Mac just toying with the backline. Ultraviolet got tossed off the map. Nobody was able to stop him because everybody has to force the pressure onto Clone Man, Buds, maybe even get aggressive onto Lastro, and Mac can just do whatever he wants, knocking people around. Now, their win condition here is going aggressive, playing the double support ult engage, and hoping that you get some picks, but there's just so many answers for Meta Skyfoxes.
Oh, and that answer could be a shatter, and there's Clone Man who nails Ultraviolet and finishes it off. There's no transcendence for Square One, and Skyfoxes don't even need the grab. It's just been 1 or maybe 2 ultimates for Skyfoxes, and they're consistently winning these fights vanilla style.
Vanilla style is one of my favorite ways, actually. I'm not a big fan of chocolate. Not a big fan.
Well,
either way, FaZe. I do want to mention, though, FaZe, they have this Graviton. They want to play this and drop Ultraviolet's trance immediately. Then they can EMP, follow up immediately. They can get the job done here defensively.
A grab ready for FaZe. Square One, they need to survive it. They have the support ultimates to do it, like you said. And they're starting to collapse onto the supports of Skyfox. As you see, they're chasing them away, but Mac thankfully speed boosted the supports and Buds away, but it's gonna cost him his life for it. Now a grab is thrown from FaZe. Skyfoxes, it only caught the Ultraviolet, who was mid-transcendence, so it's not gonna get the value they were looking for. As Square One, they start to pull away here with these picks, but Skyfoxes have stalled this to an overtime defense. This is absolutely incredible how Skyfoxes were able to turn this around. Now, Square One, they need to hold on to this momentum they've created.
Now, the Skyfoxes needed to get the EMP post-trans from Ultraviolet, but Buzz just got destroyed. They went right for the Sombra player. Now the retake from Meta Skyfoxes needed regain momentum here. They have the ults to pull it off. The nano boost is out, but Jolf takes down Lastro.
Bit of a messy fight because you had teams in each other's backlines. You have ultimates used without the fight being necessarily started, as Jolf did try to create some space with that primal. He gets hacked and getting chased around, but mainly Square One have grouped up on the cart just to walk into Buds' EMP. Now Skyfoxes looking to get some picks and to stop Square One at this choke point, and looks like they've successfully done it, and Square One will be in a tough pickle after that.
Yeah, Meta Skyfoxes, they just have so much available to them, especially with this control that they have into this stairwell that's going to be basically just pushed by Square One, especially given that Jolf is now on the Winston. It's going to be so difficult for them to take this space away from a Reinhardt, and Jolf is going to be met instantly.
Oh, Clone Man has Shatter. I was wondering if Square One really wanted to go in a small hallway with Clone Man with Shatter on the other side, but grab from Dove, equally matched from FaZe, but it's Skyfoxes that heal themselves up and keep themselves sustained thanks to the barrier of Mac. And Square One, they're trying so hard to dislodge Skyfoxes from this high ground, but it was the anti from Lastro that also just wounded them so much and weakened them before they could get their attack going.
How do you even deal with this? I mean, every time you try to push this high ground, okay, we see a swap here from Ultraviolet. They're going to meet that Ana with an Ana of their own. and trying to deal with this. Sleep Dart down for Ultraviolet, so they don't have that available to them. But Biotic versus Biotic, my money's on Lastro here.
My money's on who can push this cart. It's been like ages that we've seen Square One get any momentum, and now a Nano is going to be placed onto FaZe, who's trying to build up that grab even faster. And because Square One didn't decide to contest that high ground, Skyfoxes got so much more free damage. They got free antis from Lastro onto the attacking team of Square One, and this just is consistent stops from Skyfoxes to prevent Square One to do anything.
With an Ana v Ana matchup, I'm definitely thinking that communication is going to come into play much more than anything else. And the fact of the matter is that Skyfoxes have so much more experience setting up biotic grenades here, especially with the high ground, but this is a good engage potentially.
Oh, it catches FaZe. That's big. He had Grav. No winning condition for them as Square One. They use the Primal to make that space, but Buds is there. It's the plan B, drops the EMP. Now Skyfox is trying to follow up on this, but they're getting punished. Clone Man is out, and Square One playing really well together. So they seem to be pushing this payload halfway to B, but Skyfoxes will have the Grav coming up, and this could be the contest they need to stop this cart before point B.
All right, we could see FaZe drop this Grav, instantly getting the EMP onto Clone Man, but they won't have Buds in this. This is going to be a 5v6 engage. If they want to be able to win here, they have to invest everything in OT.
You need to push Hate towards the left side. You need to just prevent him from doing that, because Lastro is going to give Nano to Clone Man, and you're just waiting for the grab here from Dove as Clone Man's trying to rein in that damage, and it's just actually not enough for this defense to sustain, as actually it wasn't even FaZe that threw out the grab. He died with it. It was Square One's grab that came out, and now they're pulling out ahead, but they've lost a mech from Hot Date, and it's trades going back and forth. Clone Man from downtown with a shatter, but it's countered from the barrier of Angelic, so Square One will just barely be able to pull away with this point B. And Skyfoxes, although they've lost the fight, they've stalled this to overtime, so it's still successful for them.
They will have their Grav, their EMP for next, but a really solid fight from Square One. They, of course, come away with that, as well as a little bit of extra time for themselves to get around this first bend, and they have to make sure that they take that space quickly, which is exactly what they're doing. Control the high ground with Jolf as well. Use that primal advantage that you have built up for yourself now, and try to get this next fight without investing too much. Maintain that ultimate economy as much as you possibly can.
A self-destruct from Hot Date to try and split apart, and catches two, and FaZe dies with Grav again. This is critical mistakes from Skyfoxes, and this would have been the perfect time for them to win this fight, to trap Square One at the most difficult choke points of Junkertown here at the start of C. So Square One will pull away and get halfway to the end of the map.
Didn't use too much either, right? I mean, that was exactly what we were just saying. They need to make sure that they're being very effective and efficient with what they have, because Meta Skyfoxes are building into some of their own advantages. You know, getting the EMP for one.
EMP, there's a grab used from Dub to just stop the follow-up from Skyfoxes. There's a grab, though, from FaZe, completely misses. He was trying to trap the attacking team of Square One, but they just walked away. This is insane how Square One are making FaZe just sweat in this defense. As Square One, they're building space here with the Primal, but Clone Man shattered Big Al, and the Nano's used to save him. And now they've trapped Clone Man, and this is Square One peeling for each other so well. And Skyfoxes won't be able to touch, and Square One will finish Junkertown in overtime.
Great way to finish the map out, and playing to the advantage, the advantage that you get from Winston. You know, when they aren't focusing the pressure on Jolf, Jolf can really out DPS the Reinhardt when they keep Clone Man in check. You know, he's doing 30 DPS on armored targets when Attitude even has his rally up, versus Clone Man, which is, I think, 77 to every target. So, I mean, if they can make sure that they can control spacing, control high ground as well, because they also have the Diva with the Winston, especially in that last phase of the map. I really, really like what they've done to be able to answer Clone Man and this composition that Skyfoxes love running.
So Square One, I mean, they could have easily gotten full held at A, and even point B went to overtime. And then Point C went into overtime. They played so well under pressure, and we started to see some slight mistakes from Skyfoxes, mainly FaZe dying with Grav at Point B. They could have won the fight there and stopped it there, and then he died with Grav again at the start of C, another critical point where they could have held the defense. And there was a really great self-destruct play from Hot Date that completely opened up C for Square One.
And now as we see them go into their attacking phase, it should be no surprise what Skyfoxes are intending to run here. And I do like that Square One fell back onto their strengths, right? Putting Hot Date on D.Va, making sure that you can deal with Lastro. The best way that they figured out how to do that as well, bring your own Ana, right? Go 1-to-1 on that and try to start figuring things out, especially given that they have the Winston, the Nano Boost available, a lot of sustain for Jolf.
Clone Man getting on the cart first, and it'll be easy to ward Jolf away, but Jolf will have more mobility to dive out and see if he can find an opportunity to the backline. He finds Lastro, gets back into the spawn room, and now Jolf's in a horrible position because he invested that jump. He's not gonna have that cooldown ready, and because of that first pick, Skyfoxes now getting some room to breathe, and Clone Man hammers everyone out of the site.
Really good protection there from Skyfoxes. They were ready for that one, because Jolf had done that time and time again on Square One's attack in the last phase of the map. Now it seems like Skyfoxes can adapt, they can protect Lastro, and in doing so, they find their opening picks. Now it's all about building to the ultimates. You need to get the EMP quickly here so that you can get this second fight under your belt and then take the first objective along with it.
And Deja Vu, this is where Square One spent so much of their time on their attack, and Skyfoxes could get a huge advantage if they finish this one off quickly. As Jolf, he just got to catch him, and now he hops out and sees the focus fire that goes towards him. And Clone Man, because there's no main tank, tries to shatter the backline, and Jolf will be dealt with shortly. He's getting so much healing and now gets the nano. Jolf should have died 3 times over, and Clone Man goes for the pin, finds Hot Date instead, and all of that, and Skyfoxes still win the fight.
And they don't even have to invest much to get it done, right? I mean, all they used was Grav. That was it, just Grav. And still, Jolf struggling to get this advantage that he wants to build into, which is the Primal. And again, they did put Ultraviolet on the Ana, and what that allows them to have is more sustainable. They haven't gotten much of that because Jolf has been bursted down left and right. Every time he engages, they're looking for that, and Attitude has met him with a shield bash every single time.
Well, this will be good for Square One that they're running the Winston now. They can rotate around the high ground and see if they can find opportunity to the back line. As Skyfoxes, though, they'll have the Shatter and EMP, a combo they've often used. Buds drops it right on the card and only hacked Jolf and Big Al, and all they had to do was wait on the high ground. That was not a great EMP for Skyfoxes to start out. Now they're waiting for Square One to drop down so they can shatter them, and the nano's given to FaZe instead of Clone Man. Clone Man shatters 2 into the back, but he's left by himself, but it doesn't matter. He gets a 3K, 4K again. This guy does it again.
So the Clone Man army is usually what proves effective for Skyfoxes, but sometimes all the army needs is its general, its captain at the front. Clone Man gets it done by himself, but either way, Skyfoxes looking to turn around from their defense that ended in 2 different OT pushes. Now they have to fend off and a very lethal push here by Square One, who have so many ultimates in tow.
Interesting that Hot Date uses the self-destruct without the Grav being set up by Dove, probably because he was hacked. So miscommunication there, but he still throws out the Grav. He's going to catch Clone Man, and Dove got nanoed, but he still got finished off by Skyfoxes. So this was a bit of a messy setup for Square One, and this will allow Skyfoxes to get point B.
And they are just surging, aren't they? I mean, 445 on the time bank. They could very well continue this onslaught because look at the ultimate economy across the board, right? I mean, positive economy delta left and right. All they're doing is making sure that they're efficient as possible in all of these wins, and it's forcing Square One to try to pull out more than what may be necessary to get the job done, and Bud's doing such a good job with these hacks, and now he has an opportunity for the EMP.
Great EMP catches everyone from Square One, and they just all had a heart attack and died at the same time. Skyfoxes, that was a 5-second fight, and they're happy with that, but they're not going to have a ton of ultimates to push the end of Junkertown.
Truly unfortunate defense so far for Square One, but 4 minutes on the time bank here. They have the sound barrier available. You need to get in there now and try to push your advantage, out-sustain them here, and make sure that Ultraviolet outplays Lastro with those biotics.
The barriers used from Angelic, you would have wanted Buds to hack and see if they could assassinate some supports before the setup from Square One was ready. Now the Nano is given to Clone Man. He needs to win that 1v1 Ryan duel. He gets antied. He should finish off Jolf, and there it is. A grab is used from FaZe to put more pain onto Square One, who are still trading back and forth. Big Al surprisingly receives the Nano, and he's antied, but that's a raid boss you just don't want to deal with the defense of Square One. So Skyfoxes had the cards on the table, but they're just not ready and don't have all the members they need to push the end of Junkertown.
Oh, this is a recontest though from Meta Skyfoxes. Are coming back in. Doesn't look like it's gonna work, so they are gonna be forced out. But I really like the way that Hot Date is playing this D.Va. It's so difficult. Oh, Jolf, what a madman! Oh,
and he shattered.
Okay, a little bit more than you wanted there.
A little bit more, but what an opportunity created after that as Clone Man. I think he got slept in the middle of that pin. But anyway, Skyfoxes trying to set up this EMP Square One and see how they're playing so dispersed now, trying to set up their own grab. Grab is thrown, it catches FaZe. Buds holds on to the EMP, waits for the follow-up from Square One, and nails the rest of the defense of Square One. Skyfoxes only have a few more picks to go, 2 minutes and 30. It's still a really big time bank to go up against the overtime push of Square One. Skyfoxes in cleanup mode. Clean up on aisle 5, and Square One just trying to stall this one out. All they want to do is shave time off of this clock. They're rotating in and out, but it won't be enough. 2 minutes and 14 is what Skyfoxes will end Junkertown with.
Skyfox is just doing so well with their ultimates, right? I mean, that really is what is being displayed here, in my opinion, because the advantage compositionally when EMP is down, at the very least, should be to Square One every single time. They have the D.Va in the Ana vs. Ana matchup, and not only do they have the D.Va, but Hot Date is actually playing that matchup pretty well. There's a lot that he has to do for his job, you know, making sure that he's managing a Reinhardt, making sure that he's managing the grabs, managing the biotics, the sleep darts, everything. You even see him when he doesn't have the defense matrix, he just turns his body around, sticks his rear end into Lastro's face, and forces his pressure onto the main tank of Clone Man, right? So he's still doing his job of pressuring the main tank while also doing his job of making sure that those biotics don't get through to the rest of his team. Worst case scenario, he takes it himself.
And there was a critical oof from Jolf, really overextending and even using Shatter there in a panic mode. So because of that pig onto the main tank, Skyfoxes were able to just get on the cart and already have that 6 versus 5 advantage. So that was a big opportunity for Skyfoxes. Now 3 minutes and 14 on their attack, but it will be Square One attacking first with only a minute. And if we remember on their last attack, it was a struggle bus of a time, to say the least.
Well, they're going at it with a different approach, and you could call this the Meta Skyfoxes approach. We're gonna see the 1-to-1 matchup, Dove versus Buds. Dove spotted him out, so forced Buds back. He's not gonna be able to get that little poke damage he likes to get at the beginning, but still has high ground control, can still put that pressure onto Jolf.
Yeah, maybe what they're trying to go for is someone to take that attention away from Buds, the Sombra versus Sombra. Someone to also go for hacks, and it's Buds who's going to win that out. But Dove was known for a Sombra play in Open Division playoffs, and they hadn't actually played this strategy in Trials whatsoever. And I'm excited to see if they're going to stick with it. You know, the 1v1 loss at the start, maybe you can have a few more rounds, see if it'll work now.
This is such a hard matchup, though, because you're not playing into the D.Va advantage that you had before, but you're playing the matchup 1-to-1 against two players that are really good at it, Buds and Lastro.
Oh, and Dove is out again. 2 times he's out at the start of the fight, but now it's an equal trade onto Lastro, the main source of healing for Skyfoxes, who have now lost their main tank. Square One just need to group up on the cart, or do they want to take advantage and push through now that Skyfoxes don't have a main shield?
Still have to make sure that you're dealing with Buds, because soon he'll have the EMP. They can recontest with that, but luckily there, or at least intelligently, Dove hacked Buds out. They don't have the opportunity just yet.
Buds is EMP at the ready, drops it onto the cart, only hacks Hot Date. No one else got hacked by Square One, so not finding tremendous value. Now Hot Date throws out the grab, dies immediately after, and Big Al uses the rally. It's Square One who are just crumbling at the seams, and an anti from Lastro just weakens Square One even more. EMP was dropped from Dove, but there's just not enough follow-up when the rest of your team is a little bit dead. So Skyfoxes now well, have the leftover ultimates. They're just lasering and cleaning up the rest of Square One, who don't seem to be able to push this payload any farther than they did. They struggled at the exact part last time.
All right, in spite of popular belief though, right, this is still a winnable situation for Square One. They pushed it far enough where they can actually hold at 2 different junctures of this map, meaning they can, if they want to at least, they can play their old style of just aggressively holding up at spawn, maybe lose that fight, then you have the opportunity to recontest later if you die the way that they need to, you know, which is effectively all together so that they can recontest as 6. So they can do that with a 102 meters gained, and in 3 minutes 14 seconds, that's workable. So Square One not down and out just yet, but Meta Skyfoxes definitely, you know, making sure that they have the best opportunity to take us to that map number 5 and potentially steal this one away again, just like they did versus Bermuda. I'm not okay. Well, I said it already. Unlucky.
The S or the broom word. Don't say it. Don't say it. We don't say that. But it's actually surprising because Dove on the Sombra was, like I said already, was really great in Open Division playoffs and other tournaments. But the fact that he died first twice in 2 consecutive fights just ate up a lot of time that Square One had on their attack. And they're going to try the Sombra again, and he was losing the 1v1s to Buds. So do you still go for the 1v1s, or do you try and just play around him and go for a hack and ignore the other Sombra if you can?
I think that 1v1 is just so dangerous, especially given how good Buds is and what you just saw on their attack as well. I think you stay away from it, but they're going for it anyways.
Oh, that sleep. Jolfus slept and someone woke him up. It was the anti that did that, and you wouldn't want to go for a pin, but Skyfoxes, while Jolf was sleeping on the job, they ran over the rest of his team. So a win's a win.
Much better.
So the first fight that they wanted to at least probably burn off at like a minute off of, well, they don't really get that. They don't really get too close to that either. And they also don't really have any ultimates to recontest with. So control certainly in favor of Meta Skyfoxes as they push this payload. And now one more fight opportunity for Square One to push this in and get control.
This is the last fight of Skyfoxes. Take this. They're sending us into a game 5 after being down 0-2. What an incredible turnaround, as Clone Man will be the one you have to watch. He's going to have the Shatter coming up, and Jolf is standing in his way. He gets stunned, shatters. It's blocked there from Jolf. Great heads-up play from Square One, who now want to hold on to this cart. They cannot give up too much space here for Skyfoxes, who are just trying to fortress themselves away from Square One. Dove's about to get EMP. Buds is like 1 HP with an EMP, and this is a winning condition Square One need. But with that kill onto FaZe, they might be just holding on to these ultimates.
Look at what Buds is doing too, putting the pressure onto Dove. Now they don't have the EMP advantage, and Buds has one of his own. They can push this forward now once they have everybody back up from respawn. Need those spy checks now if you're Square One. Need to catch Buds.
They're gonna go in without their Brig, and Clone Man gets the nano. He has to win this 1v1 against Jolf. That would open up so much for his team. Super clutch block from Clone Man. Knew that was coming from Jolf, and now a grab is thrown from both sides. But look at how Square One respond. It looked like Skyfoxes had the initial advantage at the start of the fight, but it was Square One that miraculously held that.
And now Skyfoxes, the only thing that they can effectively play off of is beat Shatter. So how do you get into that? Well, you have to get an effective hack off instantly, and Dev is going to be looking to shut that down. Buds has been very aggressive to try to take the Sombra 1v1s because he feels like he can take that mechanically, out-aim his opponent, and kind of catch him off guard. But if you're going for Dove, you're not going for the setup for that combo, so they have to go for that here.
Oh, Clone Man, he's looking for the Shatter. He's hacked. Thankfully, he's not dead. Oh my god, he was like 1 HP. But you're looking to... Mac also held on to that barrier, but that kind of got a little too close for comfort. Now he uses it. It's the time to engage here for Skyfoxes as they push forward. And the EMP catches Clone Man, and he got dealt with so early in that fight while he was trying to set up a Shatter combo for Skyfoxes. Now there's 15 seconds left, and Square One are still cleaning up Skyfoxes.
Oh, they could do it here, and off the merits of Dove on the Sombra as well. Played that so intelligently, but still, opportunity for Meta Skyfoxes.
Oh, they tried to do an EMP Shatter, but I don't know if it missed. I don't know what happened. Overtime, though, and Square One are up by 3. Skyfoxes Skyfoxes had a real chance to send us into a Game 5, but it will be Square One taking the 3-1 over Skyfoxes, no longer undefeated.
And Dove on the Sombra, he doesn't want any part of that 1v1. You see him rotating out of that when Buds takes it his way. You know, great play from Clone Man throughout, and the rest of Skyfoxes, they really give themselves the absolute best shot that they could have, especially with their initial attack, right? I mean, something like 5 minutes going into that third stage, but really love the way that they were able to pivot and pull out that Skyfoxes-esque composition, and Dove played it so well on the Sombra.
Whew. I thought we were going to Game 5. I thought.
Me too. Straight up.
If you're a betting person, you probably lost money because you probably bet on Skyfoxes going to Game 5. You had 3 minutes and 14. 3 minutes and 14, I think, to get to like a few meters. Just get to point A. On Skyfox's last attack, it was a breeze. 5 stars on Uber is how fast they got to point A. And they got held there for 3 minutes and 14 by Square One. That was absolutely insane play from Jolf and the rest of their team to play under that pressure and to keep their head in the game.
Yeah, I mean, composure was everything.